So the weather today is terrible, so I feel like I'm going to have to play Forza just for a little bit of escapism. Hello and welcome to A Tribe Called Cars. My name is Ben Griffin and today we're going to be looking at a little off-roader. Actually, it's not that little, but anyway. I'm talking about the Class 10 race car, the 2015 Alumi Craft. Now the reason we're doing this is because it was a seasonal challenge in Forza Horizon 4 this week, and you could win the Forza Edition version. So in this video I'm going to just do a couple of tunes on both vehicles, compare the two so you can see which is better and why. I'm also going to show you a little bit of the races you need to do to get the car, and so you can see the car in action, see if you like it or not. I think it's pretty decent. It's certainly not the best in its class, but it's good fun. It's just cool to drive basically, and it's got huge amounts of suspension travel, looks kind of funky, so why not? So the championship you had to complete was called Cart Before the Horse. Seasonal championship, 3 races. If you get a win in each one, that's 20 points times 3, 60 points, job done. Now to get the Alumi FE as a prize, you need to win the seasonal championship and you need to beat the Drivatars on expert difficulty. So it does help to slightly tune whatever vehicle you decide to use to a reasonable level. You can probably do it without, but just to make your life easy and to get through it fast, it's worth just spending a little bit of time tuning the car into something quite good. Now I'm using the standard Alumi Craft because I want to compare the two, and the best way to do that is to complete the challenge with one and then have a go in the other. So, you know, logic. Anyway, so basically these 3 challenges are not especially difficult, but expert can be moderately difficult. If you're not the best driver, then you need to have fairly clean lines. So what I would do is, if you're really lazy, just get the car and download a tune. So there are plenty of tunes available, and at least 2 or 3 of them are going to be good enough. So in terms of the tune, all I did was adjust the gears, try and give the car as much horsepower as I can. I then used Hoki Hoshi's formula that takes into account the weight of the car front and back. You can find this in my video that is all about tuning. It's called 10 Tips and Tricks for Success or something to that effect. I'll put it in the description. So go and watch that if you want to see what this formula is about. So the maximum you can have is A class. Get the thing up to 800 or as close to as possible. Hoki Hoshi's formula is good because it takes into account the weight balance of the car. Now the first race is a percent based one, so it's not laps. You just have to be first over the line, or at least second. If you can win the other 2 and come second, you'll probably be okay. There's going to be variations on that, but ideally if you just win them all, it's a guaranteed success, easy. So I would go for that. There's no shame in restarting or using rewind just to ensure that happens. You only lose a few percent, and if you're just trying to get all the cars and try them out, then don't waste your time trying to be the best in the world, because I think there are more fun cars that you can spend your time tuning and driving. The second race is lap based, and this one is actually not especially difficult. If you just manage to really tuck in on the corners, brake early, keep the car balanced, and then sort of just nudge through the checkpoints, you can catch up with the AI in a couple of places relatively easily. It's not especially difficult, as you can see on screen. Just be consistent, and as I said, if you're struggling, do a restart, maybe learn the circuit a little bit and then have another go. And the last race is really quite twisty, so all you have to do with this one is, again, keep your lines tidy, keep pressure on the AI, and eventually you will catch up with whoever is in first, second or third. And there are a couple of bits where you just naturally make up time. So although it seems like they are really quick through certain sections, overall, if your tune is decent and you don't hit the barriers too much, you don't go off the track, then you should be fine. The wet conditions throughout the season do make it a little more difficult, but it's certainly not the hardest challenge I've had to do. And of course, once you've done that, you will then be rewarded with the car that you've been wanting the entire time, which is the Alumi Craft Forza Edition. So with this car I decided to max it out. I didn't really want to do the same races again, but in doing so I had peak power of 668 horsepower, lateral Gs of 1.6 and a curb weight of 961 kilograms. I typically avoid the components for the engine that add weight. because I actually prefer a lighter car, and I think grip in this game most of the time outweighs sheer power. Of course, in drag racing and other stuff, maybe that changes, but being a good driver and having a lighter car and maximizing grip does seem to yield the best result. But with all of that done, you end up with an S1 class 896. So if you wanted to get into S2, it's just not going to happen. The components are largely the same as they are for the Forza edition and the non-Forza edition, but the Forza edition Alumi Craft has better perks. There are far more of them. You also get the destruction bonus, and the car is lighter. So although you have the same horsepower, it just works out lighter overall. So that alone makes it a better car. But unlike most Forza Edition versions, you can't really tune it to ridiculous levels. It's quite limited in what you can do with it, so it's probably not the best of its kind by any stretch of the imagination. However, if you enjoy this vehicle, having the best version is going to be better for you, and of course the Forza Edition does win out. Anyway, so now on screen I'm going to show you the tune I've gone for, which does 0 to 60 in around 3.7, 0 to 100 in 7.649, so it's pretty nippy. And now I shall leave you with a race just demonstrating what this car is like off-road. It's pretty good. I think there are better alternatives, but as I said earlier, it looks cool, it is fun to drive, it's rewarding enough to make it worth giving it a go. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, please like, and of course, be ready for a lot more content coming. There are a few things I'm going to be trying out that are slightly different, but the aim of this channel is to not only show you the latest cars and the latest racing games, including Dirt Rally. I have a code. I can't tell you anything about the game just yet, but I will be able to very, very soon. And depending on when you're watching this, it might be that my review and other stuff is already on the channel. So go have a look if you are interested to see what I think of that game. I'm also going to be doing a very, very, very cheap microphone showdown for any of you guys that want to do what I'm doing here, do the car YouTube thing, do the voiceover thing. One is a dynamic mic, one is a condenser mic. Both are XLR, and they're both hooked up to the cheapest audio interface. I had the blue Snowball for a long time, and it's pretty decent. Plug it in, and it does its thing. But I wanted to see if you could get better quality and more flexibility with a microphone and audio interface setup. And on that note, I shall catch up with you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.